for you, if you don't know me, I'm Oksana Nimkovich. I'm a board certified in internal medicine and nephrology, and I'm very passionate about kidney disease. And number one reason for people being on dialysis is actually diabetes. And a lot of people think sugar causes diabetes, and that's why it's very, very passionate topic for me. And hence the name of this lecture is actually friend or foe. And I am actually a big believer that you should not be demonizing any foods. And it's actually shown in the studies that the more we demonize the sugar, the actual production and sales of the sugar keep going up and up and up and up and up. And it's almost quadruple from 90s and double from, like, actually the rise of the sugar consumption is the slope of the curve is a little bit flatter, but it's still rising. And now even people trying to trick you now, like we hear about sugar substitute are bad for you. So now it's actually a Coke product that Coca-Cola says, oh, it's a Coke with real sugar. So we're trying to come back and say, okay, so real sugar is good, is better than anything else. But I'm a big believer that actually none of the products are bad or good. It's just the products. It's like money. Monies are not bad. Money are not good. Money is just the money. Depends in like what hands money can actually do some good, right? If you do charity, you can actually help a lot of people. And if money is in a evil hands, then they're gonna do evil. So the same is the sugar. Sugar is actually energy. We cannot live without sugar, but it's a little bit of confusion about terminology and what actually sugar is. And sugar is actually just a saccharose. And I'm going to show you a little bit more pictures, but I want to understand that we often think sugar and carbs in the same sentence, or we think sugar is different from the carbs. And every carb will actually become a glucose and become a sugar. And when we talk sugar, like productive way, like a production type sugar, it's a saccharose, and it's a glucose and fructose combined together. And it's the cheapest version to extract. Glucose has almost the same properties as a saccharose, but it's way more expensive to extract it. And from production standpoint, from financial standpoint, is way easier to produce saccharose that produce glucose. Glucose is actually way more expensive. But even protein, if you eat excess protein, will become at the end glucose. The body will convert excess protein to the glucose. And then if you eat a lot of excessive glucose and you're not able to use it, you're actually going to store it first in the liver in the way of glycogen. And then all of the other axes you're going to store as the fat. So it's a conversion, it's a constant conversion of those carbonates. And in some points, like when I had my third baby, I was actually so exhausted that my glucose level dropped, and they gave me first sugary drink, apple juice, I believe. I don't remember, maybe orange juice, but it's a high sugar content juice. And then it didn't help, so they gave me IV glucose. And it was very beneficial to me. It was not evil at all. I have zero energy level. I couldn't even move, and that basically saved my life. And if anybody diabetic in the family, if you know anybody diabetic, you know when the sugar drop, it's a confusion. It's actually cause of death and coma, and it's very, very dangerous. Seizures happen when the sugar drops. So sugar is energy. Sugar is life. It cannot be evil. So for us, it's not important where glucose is coming from. Our brain can only function on glucose, and we must have it. Very important for us is how fast is it being absorbed. So every sugar, every carb, everything will become glucose, and glucose is life for our brain. But what our brain does not like is how fast we have those swings, those ups and downs in the sugar levels. And this actually define like what and where the sugar is coming from. So you will have the same sugar, the same glucose from potato, from rice, from whole grains, from chocolate, from fruits, from candy, and from sugar. But you will have this glucose level very slow from potato, rice, and whole grains. And you will have very high level of the glucose very quick if it's coming from chocolate, from fruits, from candy. And in response to this uprise in the glucose, your pancreas produces the insulin. And insulin is like good boyfriend. It brings the flowers to the cells. And it's opened the door. It's like a key to let the cells get the glucose inside. Two types of cells can actually get the glucose without any insulin. And it's a brain cell. So brain does not need insulin to sense the glucose level. And that's how our body knows what is happening, how much glucose we have. And when you exercise, when you vigorously exercise, when you go into anaerobic exercise, your muscle cells can absorb sugar from the bloodstream without any insulin. So that's why exercise is so important, especially for diabetic people. And if they're diabetic, they need to lower their insulin level. So, but let's come back to the good boyfriend. So you just ate a candy. Your brain sends a lot of glucose. Brain tells pancreas we have. Can you guys please mute yourself? Thank you. Your brain tells pancreas, okay, we have a lot of glucose, please open the cells. And it opened the cells. And for glucose, cells is like for the cells, glucose is like a flower. And so insulin is our boyfriend, which brings flower every time. But imagine you're a cell and you have this boyfriend, then brings flowers. Okay, once a week is nice, but then it starts bringing every day. This boyfriend brings the flowers every single day. And okay, well, your kind of like apartment is being full of flowers now. And now it's 3 times a day. And you're like, oh my God, so much flowers. I don't want any flowers. And the cell says, okay, that's enough. I don't need any more flowers, meaning I don't need any more glucose. And cell locks itself down and say, I don't want your flowers, go away. And this is called insulin resistance. When cell says, oh, I have too much flowers, I have too much glucose, stop bringing me this glucose, I'm good. And then your brain still sends the sugar everywhere, and it needs to send the sugar somewhere. And then the brain increases insulin production. And this what actually leads to insulin resistance, and then more and more insulin produced. And then the boyfriend becomes bad, because this is when you actually start craving the bad flowers. So first, insulin was bringing roses, okay? You were eating fruits. But now, because you crave more and more and more and more, you start bringing donuts and other nasty stuff. And so boyfriend's not bringing roses anymore. Start bringing, bad flowers that you don't even want it. And this is how diabetes develops with the time, because pancreas become burned out because it can't even produce any more insulin. So first you have insulin resistance, then you have early stages of type 2 diabetes, when you actually, no matter how much you produce, is not enough. And then you can actually go to complete pancreas burnout. And again, remember we talked about that it doesn't matter where this glucose is coming from. So glucose will rise due to any sugar. Glucose will rise from any carbs. But it's important, the sharp rise in glucose, and you have lots of insulin production. If you have a slow rise of glucose, then you will have a slow insulin production. And this is very important because of this slide. This slide, if you can remember anything from today's lecture, please remember this slide. Because why is it so bad? The bad is actually this swing. When you rapidly absorb glucose, then what happened? You have this glucose crash because brain sends too much glucose, so it's producing too much insulin, and then it's like it just crashes completely, and you have the trigger of fake hunger. So when you have this seesaw, this is what triggers fat hunger. That you just ate, but then you finish with a little bit of cake, and then the sugar rises up like this, and you feel amazing, and then it crashes down all the way down, and then you have this fake hunger. You know how you always like you eat and you're like, oh my God, I'm so full, I can't eat anything, but you can actually find space for the dessert always, always. Some people who are sugar addicted, they will actually start with the dessert. The sugar will spike, then they eat normal food. By the time they finish, 30 minutes later, they already have this crash hunger. So 30 minutes later, they are hungry again. And then, I don't know if you know this Bear Grylls, okay? I just put him as the anchor for your memory about ghrelin hormone. Okay, so Bear Grylls is the guy who survives his nature, you know, like helicopter, drop him down somewhere in the wilderness and he goes hunt animals, and he like sleeps in a bear skin and like in a really crazy situation. So this is what happened. The moment you see this seesaw down, the moment you see this crash, you actually have this ghrelin produced and you hunger like a bear, okay? And leptin is actually what makes us feel. And so before eating, you have high ghrelin levels. So ghrelin is being produced by gastrointestinal tract. And so like high ghrelin level makes you hungry. And then once you eat, you produce leptin. And so ghrelin becomes low, leptin becomes high. And this is how you feel satiety. And it's supposed to last 6 to 8 to even 16 hours if people doing intermittent fasting and, you know, people have an excessive weight, because leptin is produced by fat cells. So theoretically, the more fat cells you have, the less hunger you should ever feel. But ghrelin is being produced as a response to this glucose crash. So that's create the fake hunger. And that's why we're actually prone to gain weight, because we're just going to be hungry when we're not actually hungry. And so after today, you know, if you have any problems with the sugar, and I know you wouldn't be here if everything would be good in paradise, but I want you to track the amount of sugar. And then I want you to track your body feelings around the sugar. And ask yourself, why are you eating sugar? And this is very important. Why we talk about feelings about sugar? Because for us, sugar is the fastest way to satisfy our hunger. It's also the most addictive way to satisfy our hunger. And we're going to talk a little bit later about addiction. But I want to kind of like think about the way we developed. First of all, why do we like sugar? Because mother's milk are full of sugar. It's not a glucose, it's actually galactose, but it's a naturally produced sugar. And nature created us the way that up until a certain age, we don't want to eat mammoth. We don't want to eat some berries that can give us poisoning. We don't want to eat some mushrooms. We actually only want mother's milk. And that's why nature created us this way. So we survive. So we are addicted to sugar, to galactose, but it doesn't matter. It tastes the same. Then our environment nowadays it's all about the food. Think about when somebody gets married, right? We all wait for wedding cake. When somebody has a birthday, it's a cake. When somebody's in school, oh, good grades, let's give you candy. Some not such a good parenting advice, guilty myself, but oh, like if you do this, I'm gonna give you candy. Oh, you're not gonna behave, you're not gonna get your candies. Okay, because it's easy for us. It's easy, it's our bargaining chip. And you know, till some time I used it, and now I'm trying not to use it. But this is our culture is built around it. And let's talk about determinants. So determinants, hopefully there is no math teacher here today in the group. If they are, that's different determinants. It's not mathematical. It's something that decisively affects the nature of outcome of something. Meaning, if my priority is my health, then I'm gonna say, okay, I don't want to eat sugar. I'm not gonna eat sugar. But my priority, like kings and queens, are keep changing. Okay, we create a revolution in our brain. We kill one queen, we set up the other king, and it's keep changing. It keep changing in one day. It's also keep changing in our life. So let's say my determinant is to show my kids how driving safely is important. So I'm gonna stop on every even like blinking green, and I'm not gonna speed up or like exceed the traffic limit. But if my determinant at this moment, oh my God, I'm late for work, I need to get it, then forget about it. I'm gonna be speeding on a yellow light. Kids, please don't listen to this, but it happens to adults. And I'm gonna be driving 38 miles where it's 35, right? Because my determinant right now is to get to work. Like, and I don't care about anything else. This is all occupied mind. The same thing. If my determinants is I want to look good in this swimsuit on July 4th, then whole June I'm gonna be in the gym 5 times per week. Okay. But then after July 4th, my determinant shift to, okay, I have too much work, I'm too stressed, so forget the gym. The same thing happening with the sugar. The same thing happening with everything. Those determinants are play important role. And next slide is actually a diagram what defines our relationship with our health. And first, right? So first is just going to be personally you know, age, sex, constitutional factors. Like the more we age, the more we worry about our health. Young people, teenagers, they think they're invincible. So they are actually not prone to think about, you know, measuring their labs and measuring their blood pressure and going and seeing physician. No, but as you age, this is something we realize we're mortal by the age of 40. And so on average, some people are different. Right? Women tend to think more about their health than men and more about the look than men. Okay? Then education. Education is very important factor. The more you know about something, then you're gonna notice it more and pay attention more to this. Simple example. My husband wants to buy Tesla. He started researching about Tesla. Okay, he reading article about Tesla. Now, all of a sudden, everybody around us driving Tesla. Why? Because he's focused on Tesla. He's actually noticing this Tesla. The moment I was researching Alzheimer and sugar, it's like I go on the web and all I see is article about Alzheimer. Some people say, oh, it's a universe, send you what you ask for, but it's actually maybe that, but maybe it's just the focus. We actually only see 0.035% of our reality. And when we pay attention to something, then we're actually seeing that something. It's proven, it's not a voodoo magic, it's not mystical, it's multiple studies done about this, that whatever we think of, we actually start noticing more and more and more. So when you're interested in sugar topic, then I'm gonna pop up with my sugar lecture and somebody is gonna pop up with another sugar article. And then the more you learn, you can actually erect these kings and queens of determinants, and then you can make an easier decision. What do you want to do about sugar? Are you with sugar or are you without sugar? And then, of course, you know, agricultural and food production. Of course, if the industry bombarding you with products, with sugar, with everything, then of course you're gonna, okay, well, maybe what she said in this lecture is not that good. Coca-Cola says real sugar is better. They now produce Coca-Cola with real sugar. So maybe I'm going to listen to this. So that's all create the conflict in your head. And this is just, I don't want to scare you, but this was terrifying to me when I found these slides. And this is for American population, and it's for age 2 and above. So like 3 years old kids were in this study, were in this data. And look at and it's 2 different sources, 2 different times. This is on the right was the red, it's American Heart Association. And this is a dietary advisory committee. So look at the, like here is 47 and here is 36%. This is how much sugar comes from sugar added to our food. This is from beverages, and beverages that are not milk and not juice. And milk is full of sugar and juice is full of sugar. So it's on top of us and our children drinking chocolate milk, drinking juices. This is additional to fruit juice and to the milk. This is excluding those from this data. And look how much sugar added in snacks and sweets. Okay, so let's summarize a little bit. We're already here for 25 minutes. Okay, so sugar is not evil. Okay, it's a product. You choose what to do with this. No need to be afraid of it. You actually need it. But we're going to talk next slide about terminology and what do we mean when you need the sugar. So 5% of total calorie intake should be from fast sugars. Okay? Not fast food sugar, not sugar that like, in the powder, not Coke. We're going to talk about what sugar we're talking about when we're talking about 5% of total calorie intake. And total calorie intake, think about this. Average person, we're talking about average person, 130 pounds, 140 pounds, supposed to be, if they're exercising, supposed to be on a 2,000 calories diet. If you're not exercising, if you are office worker, you're about 1,500 calories per day, maybe 1,800 calories per day. Okay, it depends what you do in the evening. But so if you're 2,000 calories, then 5% is going to be 100 calories. So 100 calories. I actually never seen ice cream that is 100 calories. And I went to Marble Creamery and I was like, I wish you didn't show me the calories because it's depressing. Okay. The banana split that I wanted to order was 3,700 calories. Okay. I just like died there, walked out of there and was almost crying. I did not order it. Okay. So what does sugar, before we go into types of sugar, what does sugar actually do to your body? There's a lot of things. Now we're talking about excess of sugar beyond this 5%, beyond this 100 calories for 2,000 calories diet. And again, for me, I calculated my metabolic rate, okay? And I exercise 5 days per week. And if I want to keep my weight, it should be 1,800. So for me, it's going to be 80 calories, which is nothing. Okay, so when we're talking about excess of this 80 calories, so what does it do to your body? Okay, good thing for stress, okay? Because your cortisol level, your insulin level, actually antagonist. It's antagonist. And if you're very stressed, and this is me, I'm a stress eater. If you consume sugar, the insulin will rise and insulin will drop cortisol levels. So you feel immediate relief. If you have anxiety, you eat something sugary, it feels good. And this actually creates another whole level of addiction, because then your body knows, your emotion knows when you stress, eat the sugar, you're going to feel good. The problem with this, it's only lasts about 30 minutes. You remember the swing and seesaw we discussed? So you feel better for exactly 30 minutes. After these 30 minutes, you're back where you started, maybe even worse. Another thing is artificial sweeteners. Once you created this loop that when you stress, you eat something sugary, the cortisol level drops, you feel good. Okay, next time you stress, oh my God, the brain thinks how to save you in right this moment. And so it thinks, okay, last time she ate chocolate, she felt good. Okay, let's crave chocolate. And you craving this chocolate. But now let's say I'll listen to this lecture and I'm like, oh, no, I can't exceed my 100 calories, my 80 calories. Okay, let me do artificial sweetener. Let me do something. Let me do stevia. Okay, I'm going to be smart. Let me do stevia. Right? And I eat something with stevia, and stevia has no calories. And I feel this taste, and my brain, okay, sugar is coming. Sugar is coming. It should be soon. We should feel better. And then sugar is not coming. And the brain is so confused, but I just tasted the sugar, but it's not coming. Where is it? And so it actually raises cortisol level because now body is stressed because it tasted the sugar. It was ready to get this relief. And now it's not getting it. So it's actually raises the stress level. Right? And then let's talk about cardiovascular disease. So, for many, many years, we all told you, oh, it's cholesterol. Cholesterol does the plugs in the artery. It clogs your arteries. And then, boom, heart attack, you're dead. But what we're finding right now is actually this is not cholesterol, not just cholesterol. Cholesterol on its own does not produce coronary artery disease because you actually need an inflammation for cholesterol to attach inside of the vessel to form this plug. And what creates inflammation? Hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia means hyper means a lot, glycemia, glucose. So a lot of glucose, a lot of sugar in your bloodstream creates this inflammation. Then cholesterol can attach. Multiple studies in mice and humans, they produced mice that cholesterol was through the roof. Even people think they could not survive. Okay, they survived and they did not form any heart disease unless they had high sugar. Okay, so it's not just cholesterol. You have to have both factors. You have to have high cholesterol and high sugar. Then you're going to form the heart disease. Sad situation with the cancer. Okay, cancer cells are the most metabolically active cells. They're like babies. They're new cells. They're highly differentiating. They're dividing faster. So babies need a lot of energy. Cancer cells need a lot of energy. Sugar is fast, quick energy. It's actually very time consuming to process protein, to process fat, but sugar is fast. And so if you keep eating high sugary diet, then all you're feeding is your cancer cells. And then after they fed, then maybe something is going to go to the rest of the body. Sugar also inhibits immune function. So we actually form cancer cell all the time. You go to your pool, you get suntan a little bit, 5 minutes, you form free radicals, you form cancer. We form cancer cells every single day. But we all have good immune system, and this good immune system fights and eliminates this cancer cell. So what is the cancer? So imagine you're like in a big city, let's say New York, and you have thieves, and then you have police. And as long as it's like individual thieves, police can actually caught it. But as the moment you have organized crime, you have a mafia, okay? Police cannot do anything because it's organized crime. The same is the cancer. We all have these individual cancer cells, but until they organize together, police is our immune system, can actually fight, eliminate it from the body. The moment you keep feeding and feeding and feeding this cancer cell with the sugar, okay, and it's also inhibits immune system. So you also shut down the police, you defund the police. Here we go, tumor. Cancer cells also, I'm sorry, not the cancer cells, sugar, glucose, also promotes growth of the new vessels. And so cancer cell is there, and let me see, here we go. So this is the slide. So cancer cells is there, not the slide, and it's actually, it's just there, and it's cannot get too much nutrition until it grows new vasculature to get the access to the mainstream. And once it gets to the mainstream, more sugar, oh my God, it's now blossoming. And to all my women, especially my women who are approaching menopause, okay, sugar drives estrogen levels up. And then we all have horrible PMS. We all have migraines. This is because of this swing in the estrogen. This is over estrogen production. And again, eliminate the sugar or lower the sugar to this 5%. And you can eliminate a lot of the symptoms. This is for my medical friends, my nerdy friends, is the new pathway with BDNF and RAGE. And this is just slide shows how sugar suppresses BDNF. And BDNF is extremely important for neural cell survival. So basically for my non-medical friends, this is what it tells. You eat sugar, you become dumb. Every time you eat sugar, you lower your IQ. Every time you eat sugar, you bring yourself closer to Alzheimer's. There is actually phenomenal studies right now going on, is changing the diet is able to reverse dementia in elderly people. And look who is the most sensitive people: children, elderly, and then postpartum women. Postpartum foggy brain, if you have kids, you know what I'm talking about. And then children. This is, to me, is just phenomenal. As the mother, if somebody showed me a movie, what is my kid potential? And then if somebody showed me the movie, what is actually my kid potential once I feed them all of these candies? I think nobody would ever give child a candy. And that's why I'm doing this lecture, because I want to, guys, educate you that this is proven multiple times. Okay, excessive sugar leads to decrease in IQ, and it leads to decrease in dementia, to increase in dementia. So why we have this? So when I was in a medical school, when I had to take my exams, I would actually, my exam is like 8 to 10 hours easily. And I would actually go to my exam with like 3 chocolate bars, okay, and with a coffee. And I would take a break every hour, and every hour I would eat half of the chocolate bar, because of this myth about that sugar actually increases metabolic activity in the brain and makes you smarter. Well, guess what studies showed on a medical student? So in the beginning of each block, so like each block have 60 questions, and you have an hour to complete the block. So it's a question per minute, and you have 8 of those, so it's 8 hours. And so first 15 questions for each block, the rate of the correct answer is almost twice as high as by the end of the hour. And when I realized why, I was like blown away, and I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I could have scored much higher because of this swing. When you take this candy, when you take this chocolate, yes, glucose rises up. Your brain saturates with the glucose, and your brain is very, very metabolically active. And yes, neurons firing faster and faster and faster. This effect ends in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, it's back to normal. In 30 minutes, It's lower than it was before. So I would actually have been smarter in my last 30 minutes of test if I did not take my candy. Okay, so each candy takes something away from you. Does it worth it? Decision is up to you. Okay, so let's a little bit come back. We're kind of like spiraling back and forth, back and forth. Let's come back to the terminology. So carbohydrates, okay? It's everything. It's sugars, it's starches, it's fibers. We cannot live without carbohydrates. I know about this keto diets and everything. For it may be good. Like I'm not against keto diet in normal healthy individual. It's a disaster for my kidney patients. So I'm not a fan of keto diet. I'm actually like, I know by the labs when patient comes to me and proudly says, oh, I lost 20 pounds. And I'm like, let me guess, your bicarbonate is so low, your ketones are through the roof, your kidneys are way worse, 30% decrease. You're on keto diet, right? And they're like, how do you know? And like, your kidneys show me. They don't like it. Normal kidney can actually accommodate for the keto diet, and I don't see any side effects in normal kidney function. But again, since I'm a kidney doctor, like I feel very sensitive about keto diet. So normal body, normal diet should consist 50% of carbs. 50, half of your plate should be carbs. Okay, but again, we have different carbs. So when we say sugars, so sugars, it's a mono and disaccharide. So mono is just a one molecular, like a glucose or galactose. And disaccharides, it's like a real white sugar or like brown sugar or coconut sugar. It's glucose and one another molecule. So it's two of them, but it's very easily broken down. When we talk about sugar, sugar is just a sucrose specifically. And then when we talk about alternative sweeteners, they're actually sugar, but they're alcohol sugars or polydextrose. Okay, why is it important? So you see here, one molecule. So this one molecule, the moment you consume it, it's immediately, like within 10 minutes, it's already in your bloodstream. And that leads to the swings. Okay, disaccharides, sucrose, maltose, lactose, okay? This is also very, very, very quickly, because this is just one link here, and you break it and you absorb it, and here we go. And by the way, your body cannot utilize fructose unless it's converted in the liver. And it's important, please remember this point, it's important. We're gonna come back to it when we're gonna talk about high fructose corn syrup, okay, or fruits. Okay, so this is easily broken. This part, fructose, go to the liver. This part, 10 minutes, it's in your bloodstream. The same here, the same here, okay? But this is poly, and you see this 3 dots, that means it's a lot of. So this is multiple glucose, and it actually takes quite a while because, okay, you break one connection, you absorb one molecule, then you need to break another one. So this actually gives you rising glucose, but it's a slow rising glucose. And so to this poly, when we're talking about poly, wrong way, this is your starches, okay? And fibers, most of them are not even absorbable at all. So this is fibers are actually slows down the glucose absorption. And then we're talking about sugars, and this, why this is here? Why this is here? This is on the slide because when people now learn that sugar is not so good for you, this is how production try to actually hide the sugar. They're not putting sugar. They're gonna put all of the other different names. Okay, so this is all of the different names that is not so good for you. This is good for you. This is the good part of the chart. And total sugars, okay? So we usually, when you read the label, you see total sugars and then you see the added sugars. So total sugars is naturally occurring sugars like sugar in the milk. We talk about lactose, right? Which is galactose and glucose, okay? We talk about fruits, right? You have fructose there. And then sugars in 100% fruit juice, okay? And then free sugars, it's an added sugar, but also in the fruit juice, because you removed all the fiber that was supposed to slow down absorption. Now it's actually free sugar. Now it's not so good for you, okay? But at least your fruit juice has some vitamins, maybe some water soluble fiber, okay? Maybe some inulin, okay? Added sugar has nothing. It's an empty calorie that again makes you hungry and you crave more. And this is what is the impact of macronutrients on the blood level glucose. And that's why we should eat the balanced food. So you see, if you eat carbs, okay, and we decide that carbs is everything. Carbs is everything. So the slope of this curve is going to be dependent on the type of carbs. If you have candy, okay, it's going to be here. It's going to be like right here. But if you eat your potato, like your pasta, okay, then it's going to give a little bit. And this is what brings your satiety. And this is what sustains your satiety. Protein and fat sustains your satiety. If you're just going to eat fat, okay, you're going to eat way more because your body will not feel this decrease in ghrelin. You remember Bear Grylls, okay? It's not, will feel this release of ghrelin. It's not going to, you know, it's not going to lower it. And it's going to take a lot of time to start feeling full if you're just eating fats. Protein is a little bit faster, but carbs, this is what brings you, like, people don't sit nowadays and eat for 6 hours. We don't go to feasts, okay? So when you eat carbs, you will feel satiety within sometimes 10 to 30 minutes. And protein will sustain and fat will sustain the satiety overnight. Otherwise, okay, if you, excuse me, if you just eat carbs, you are hungry in 2 hours for sure, for sure. Protein can sustain you for 4 hours. Fat can sustain you up to 10 hours, okay? And that's, again, this is how it does, because if you have your glucose, your mono, okay, this is chemical. This is for my nerdy medical friends, okay? One molecule, immediately, 2 minutes, 10 minutes in your bloodstream and gone inside of the cells within 10 minutes. Within 30 minutes, you're hungry again, okay? Starch, you're gonna keep breaking, you're gonna keep breaking, you're gonna keep breaking. So this is gonna actually sustain you up for 2 to 4 hours. A lot of the time, I hear from my diabetic people, like, oh, like, but I'm diabetic, I cannot eat pasta. And this is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. Yes, if you eat mac and cheese, okay, and a lot of mac and a little bit of cheese, okay, and there is no starch, there is no fiber to slow down the absorption, this is what happened. Glucose rises like you're crazy, then it drops down, then you're hungry again. Of course, you cannot have mac and cheese. But if you actually have balanced meal, where you have lots of fibers, you remember fiber slow down absorption of cellulose, and fiber will slow down the absorption of starch. So you're going to be breaking this slower than if you eat your mac and cheese with the salad and with some protein, okay? And cheese is already fat. Okay. Then we coming back to here, you're actually going to have very normal slope of glucose level. We don't want to rise. We want you to feel full soon, so you stop eating slowly, and then we want a sustainable glucose level. Okay, so next one is people confused a lot about glycemic index and glycemic load. Okay, people, little break, okay, because people getting a little bit antsy, a little bit tired, falling asleep. Okay, deep breath, move your shoulders back and forth, move your neck. Okay, get up, jump up and down, move a little bit. Okay, you ready? Okay, attention. Glycemic index versus glycemic load. Can you guys please mute yourself? Thank you. Okay, glycemic index versus glycemic load. So glycemic load is how much you gonna carbs receive total as the net. But glycemic index, this is about the slope. This is how fast it's gonna go up. So what are we interested in? What are we interested in? So we don't want anything with the high glycemic index, but we're actually okay with the high glycemic load if it's balanced with the rest of the macros, if it's balanced with the fibers, if it's balanced with protein, with fat. And if you have something which has high glycemic index means the sugar is going to spike, okay? If you balance it with something that is high fat, for example, or a lot of protein, this is actually not going to give you high load of carbs, and it's going to slow down the absorption. Okay, so here's my watermelon. So watermelon, diabetics hate it. They say, oh, it spikes my sugar. Yes, if you eat watermelon alone, it's very, very high glycemic index because it's a fructose and glucose. It's fast absorption and the sugar spikes, but it's actually very low in the calories. And so if, for example, before eating watermelon, you eat a little bit of nuts, like almonds or something, it's gonna slow down this rise and spark and sharp rise in the glucose and insulin level. Okay. Are we clear on glycemic index and glycemic load? So macaroni, spaghetti, linguine, they're actually a low glycemic index, especially if they are from whole foods, from whole grains. They're very low glycemic index, but they're actually high glycemic load, meaning a lot of calories, but it's going to slow sustain you over time. So if you ask me, what is the worst for me, watermelon or pasta? If you eat watermelon on its own, watermelon is worse for you. It's going to give you the spike, then it's going to make you hungry in the next 30 minutes. But if you combine watermelon with something, with cheese, with nuts, then it's not going to do. You're going to get all the benefits and slow and like not avoid the spikes. Okay, so and this is just everything I said. Okay, if you have low glycemic chart, okay, and it's so index and the load, index and a load together. So you do not want to exceed this 50% of the calories. So again, 2,000 calories diet, 1,000 calories should come from carbs. But average American eat 2,500 calories from carbs. Okay, and 50 of those from sugars, from high absorbable carbs, and that's what we're trying to change. Kind of like same thing. Okay, low glycemic index, right? This is just emphasizing. So low glycemic index, you have sustainable amount of glucose. High glycemic index, big spike, big down. Okay, and it says low glycemic means happiness. But I just explained to you that even high glycemic food, if combined with something that slows down absorption, it's actually sustains you better. Even I give like a little cheat sheet. Psyllium husk is amazing fiber. So if you know that you're gonna have kids earmuffs, parents, if you know you're going to go for drinks after work, take the psyllium husk. Fibers will absorb, especially sugary cocktails. Fibers will slow absorption of the sugar and will not have such a detrimental effect on your health. Okay, and so hidden sugars. So when we talk about sugars, most of the people think about this: cakes, biscuits, sweets, candies. Okay, but this is the tip of the iceberg. For American nutrition, this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is, first of all, so many hidden things. Most of the cereals, guys, I don't have cereals in my house. Like, I eliminated, my kids never eat cereals. I don't know, maybe if they do sleep over, they try it somewhere, but no cereals. Okay, no fruit juice or smoothies. Okay, raisins, dried fruit, crackers. You're not gonna believe it. Since I'm now preparing this lecture about sugar and my attention focused on sugar, I recently took my McCormick garlic salt and I read the ingredients, and my garlic salt has sugar. Wait, I have no understanding why my garlic salt is supposed to have a sugar, but it is there. It's ingredient number 3. Okay, first ingredient is salt, then it's garlic, then it's sugar, then it's dried onion, then it's parsley. Okay, so sugar is addictive. The manufacturers of our food know that it's addictive. They know that you're going to bring more and more money, and you're going to consume more and more. I don't know if you want to feed them. I don't want to feed them. And as I told you, they became more and more creative. This is 192 alternative name for the sugars. Okay. If you want this list, please email me on Best Yourself, and I'm going to email you even more extensive list. But this is something that you want to look in the ingredients. I'm going to tell you my cheat sheet. I actually have, the program is designed for the kidney patient, but I have this program. It's called SIFT. Okay, it looks like this. Okay, and what you do, you scan barcode. Hold on, it's loading. But when it's loading, it looks like this. Okay, and you scan barcode, and it actually shows you breakdown, and it's very convenient because it's breakdown by the color. Again, it's geared toward kidney patients, so it pays attention to potassium and phosphorus, which if you don't have kidney disease, you don't have to pay attention. But it's in red, it's going to show you everything sugary stuff. So it's very easy. If it's a new product that I'm trying, I'm just going to scan it, and it's list me, and it's actually divided in the categories. And then you can go to sugars or additive or preservative, and you can look what are they using. Okay, so please read your labels. Okay, so let's go over the most common hidden sugar. So everybody knows about candies, right? Everybody knows about chocolate, okay? But this is hidden sugar that we actually don't think about this. So any ham, any kielbasa, any salami, I can guarantee you has added sugar. Okay, peanuts. First of all, yes, it's clear to understand that some sugary or honey glazed peanuts have sugar, but a lot of peanut butter has sugar. Any sweet peanut butter will have the sugar. And bread, most of the breads actually have sugar, unless it's a sourdough bread, because sourdough, in order for the bread to process, you actually leave it for the yeast to rise for about 12 to 24 hours, depends on the type of bread. And those yeast that rising the bread, they will consume the sugar. So sourdough usually has very little trace amount of sugar. Okay. Every other rapid rising dough will have a lot of sugar. Okay, flavored water, very careful. Okay. A lot of flavored water, either use artificial sweeteners or use sugar. And now, like I told you, real sugar considered better than artificial sweeteners, so they adding the sugar. Again, I use, if I'm trying to buy something for the party, I don't drink, like if I want a flavored water, I would squeeze the lemon, I would squeeze the orange, I would crush the strawberries, blueberries, add some ginger, mint, cucumber. This is my flavored water. But of course, if I'm, if I'm like doing party or something and I want to have some drinks, I'm going to do my sift and see the category sweeteners, because I don't want to read tiny labels. I think it's going to kill my eyes. So I would scan it and see what is under sweeteners, what is under preservative, and look at the ingredient. And then I love sift because it's actually putting everything in green, orange, yellow, red color, so it's very easy to read. Okay, yogurt. I'm talking about flavored yogurt. So Greek yogurt or plain yogurt, no problem. It has natural sugar that comes from the milk. But again, because it's cultured product. While these bacteria are culturing it from milk, it's actually consuming a lot of these sugars. So yogurt will have less sugar than milk. But if you have this yogurt drinks for kids, okay, 39 grams of added sugar. 39. You're supposed to have about 5 grams of added sugar, or like 100 calories of added sugar. Okay, energy and protein bar. And this is a disaster because it's marketed as the health food, and people thinking I'm doing good, I'm doing something for my health. But every energy and protein bar will have sugar, okay, in some way. Okay, it's good. Like now they're trying to avoid high fructose corn syrup because it's considered like the healthy product, but they will add sugars. Okay. Dressing and sauces. Almost every dressing and sauces will have the sugar. Okay, I try to do my own dressing. I do my vinegars and I do my olive oil. But again, read the label, scan with sift, see if you can. Baked beans, guarantee, if it's especially from the can, guarantee to have the sugar. Tomato soup. Tomatoes are very acidic. They add bicarbonate to negate it, but it's very sour for a lot of people. So tomato soup, especially canned, guaranteed to have sugar. Most of restaurants, tomato soup, most of the recipes, tomato soup will have added sugar. Saltine crackers. Everybody understand about graham crackers and any other crackers, but even saltine crackers has sugar. My salt, like I can't get over my garlic salt having sugar, okay? So be careful. And so how does sugar actually create an addiction? Okay, first of all, environmental addiction. We already talked about how from emotional state is we're getting married, we celebrate with the cake, birthday is the cake, good grades is the cake. So this is just the emotional addiction. But sugar actually create physical addiction. And believe it or not, sugar is 10 times more addictive than cocaine. And this is just how it creates. This is self-explanatory. So you eat the sugar, you like it, you crave it. Why do you like it? Remember when I told you when you baby and you're supposed to like the milk? Okay? When you actually do the program to survive, it releases dopamine. Dopamine is the happy hormone, is the quick reward, okay? And you do something to survive. Even remember we talk about stress and lowering the cortisol level. This produces dopamine because you did something good for your survival. Here we go, dopamine, reward. Your body remembers this dopamine. Kids, well, adults now are dopamine junkies. So anything that promotes your survival releases dopamine. So performing tasks actually produces dopamine. So you know when you check in your email and you check in the Instagram and you're playing games to reach the next level, this is all dopamine reward. Candy Crush game, the game, when you reach the next level, dopamine flush. So it's addictive, and the sugar is addictive. So we actually become dopamine junkie. And addiction again comes from this spike, and then coming down, and spike and coming down. So when you're coming down, high insulin levels cause immediate storage, and then body craves the lost high. That's why you're hungry. That's why you want it again. And so it's every 30 minutes and you keep rewarding. And then it's even worse than this, because when you have this boyfriend that flood you with the flowers and your cell says, oh no, too much, I don't want anymore, your brain actually down-regulates the receptors. And this is what is showing on this chart. This is functional MRI taken normal. So you see this red portions of your brain. This is the person who responds good to dopamine. But when you're in this state, then you overstimulate your dopamine receptors. Your body says, oh my God, this is too much. Let's back off. Don't. We're not going to react. We're going to blunt these receptors. And it does to tell you, stop, that's enough, please stop. What do? Oh my God, I just ate a donut. I'm not getting that high. Let me get another donut. And so your body trying to blunt this receptor, and instead of stopping and saying, okay, well, that doesn't bring me high, for some reason, you actually want more. And again, this is normal. This is cocaine. This is the area that responds to the pleasure. This is your pleasure center. So this is normal body. This is cocaine. This is obese, sugar addicted person. So unfortunately, when you become sugar addicted, you can't perceive life as normal. And it actually leads to depression. And this is one of the theory in Alzheimer too, because you are not perceiving life pleasures anymore. Because this is what's happening with your brain. All the receptors are downregulated and you want more and more and more, and it's a vicious cycle. Okay, so now when we talked about all of this, okay, let's talk about how and why we become sugar addicted. We actually have two different personalities. I mean, one type of sugar addict is Carrie Bradshaw. And the other type of sugar addict is the Bridget Jones. Okay, we're not looking at the body type, we're looking at the personality. And Carrie can be skinny, but can be sugar addicted. And Bridget can be normal body size and be sugar addicted. And I'm gonna tell you each side. And when I'm talking, you kind of like see, okay, am I more Carrie? Am I more Bridget? And then you can be in between. You can be mixed type. So Carrie, let's start with Carrie. Carrie always has something sweet at home, but it's usually one type, okay? Carrie, once a day, enjoy a cup of coffee with something sugary, okay? She enjoy, usually like one day she can have a chocolate, next day she can have a waffle. She does not eat chocolate and waffles and everything together, okay? She actually can stop. She likes it, it's enjoyment. If it's not at home, like if she's out of her treat, she's not gonna run around and, okay, let me get something, okay? When she comes to work and something has a candy bar, she can take one and say, oh, I'm gonna have it with the coffee, okay? If Carrie is very stressed, especially around her period time, okay, Carrie can crave sugar like a crazy. And like, I'm gonna tell you, okay, just go have it and like eat until you're sick, okay? And Carrie will go eat until she's sick, and then she forgets about it. She does not feel guilty about this. Okay, she can go next 3 months without any of this crazy cravings. And when I tell Carrie, you have insulin resistance, like we need to stop. Carrie would actually say, okay, I can stop. I'm only gonna eat sugars now once a week instead of every single day. And she's fine, and she can go on with her life. And, you know, she goes to the birthday party and she can eat half of the piece of the cake. And then it doesn't trigger anything. She's good with it, okay? Now let's talk about Bridget. Bridget is a little bit different. Bridget loves all sweets. Bridget pantry have all the sweets in the world, okay? This candy, and then fridge full of ice cream, and then Bridget is very nice. She actually feeds people because she knows how good she feels about sugar. So she brings sugar. She's the one who sets up candy ball in the office. And people who bake, they love Bridget. They come to Bridget because Bridget really loves baking. So, you know, she rewards them with excellent compliment and she enjoys it, okay? If Bridget craves stuff, she eats everything she can find. And she actually never getting sick. She can eat until she vomits and then she wants it again 30 minutes later. Bridget also feels guilty all the time. Like if she has a girls' night out and she eats 3 pieces of cake, next morning she's like, oh my God, what did I do? I have to stop. How horrible I was last night. How can I do this? And Bridget stops and says, guys, I am not eating any sugar. I'm on a sugar detox. In 3 days, Bridget felt miserable. She shakes. She has a migraine. But she told everybody she's on a sugar detox. So Bridget starts to hide. She is eating when nobody's seeing because she told everybody I'm on a sugar detox. So now she's hiding under her blankets, like in this picture, and eating so nobody can see. And she has this constant guilt. Okay, it's overeating and trying to withdraw, and overeating and trying to withdraw. Okay, why is it important to us, and how you can, if you did not identify anywhere in between, I really encourage you to use this link. This is wonderful, wonderful woman. It's Susan Thompson Pierce. She is actually founder of very successful weight loss program and published multiple books. And she actually created this test. She was drug addict herself in her 15s. And then when she cut the drugs, she actually started gaining weight. And then she has this, waves of losing and gaining weight. And she is now for over 30 years in the beautiful 120 pounds and beautiful, beautiful woman. She has PhD in psychology and specifically psychology of eating disorder. I learned a lot from her. If you follow this link, this is actually going to lead you to her quiz. And quiz rate your addictiveness to the food, okay? And it's going to go from 1 to 10. So 1 to 3, this is going to be Carrie. 8 to 10, it's going to be Bridget. And everything in between is going to be mixed up. So why is it important to you? Why is it important for you to know this number? So if you carry, okay, you can just kind of like say, okay, like I learn about sugar. I know my determinants. You remember we talk about queens and kings, what's going on in your brain, what defines how you're going to behave. And so you can actually say, okay, so I'm going to lower my amount of sugar. And then like one day I'm going to stop, and I'm actually only going to eat sugar when I'm vacationing in Italy, and I'm going to have like a wonderful gelato and tiramisu. Or if I go to the birthday party, then I'm going to have half a piece of cake and I'm going to enjoy it. And Carrie can do it. Bridget, on the other hand, this type of addictiveness cannot do this occasional stuff. Bridget has to go hardcore. Bridget has to tell yourself, I'm never eating sugar again. And at least for 6 months, there must be no sugar. It's like a hard stop withdrawal. And what Bridget's supposed to do, Bridget's supposed to tell everybody in the family, I'm on a sugar detox. Announce it on the Facebook that she's going through the sugar detox. Announce it to work colleagues, to everybody, and basically tell them, please, that's important to me. If you see me craving or something, stop me. Stop me, don't give me anything, okay? People actually have to help. It's like a real drug addiction for Bridget. And Bridget will actually go through this waves. She will have fatigue. But remember that this cortisol level, because of the stress, sugar is now not coming. It's a true physical withdrawal. But what else lowers cortisol level? Exercise, sleep, laughter. So Bridget has to know that she is on like AA. Bridget is going to be on sugar detox AA. And everybody will help her. And she needs to have a routine. She needs to know that, like if I'm going to start craving, if I'm going to like if I'm dying, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to call my friend, my sponsor, right? I'm going to involve my friend and say, listen, I'm going through the sugar detox. And if I'm really, really walking past Magazine Street and I'm walking past Sucre and it smells amazing, please hold me, physically hold me. And I'm going to call you and you're going to tell me to come to your house and you're going to help me and support me. Okay. With the sugar detox, Bridget will have dizziness or lightheadedness. So drinking fluid, I always tell my clients, if you're going to the sugar detox, drink, drink, drink. Every time you crave, before you eat anything, drink the bottle of the water. Nausea is phenomenal. And with, so like, it's different for everybody. Usually those acute symptoms is up to 7 days. And then after 21 days, your receptors, your tongue receptors, your taste receptors, they change to the point that you start feeling the sweetness again of the non-sweet stuff. I love chantilly cake from Whole Foods. This is my favorite cake. Before my birthday, I did a sugar detox for 30 days, absolutely no sugar, nothing added, nothing fast sugar. And then on my birthday, it was the 30 days was ending, like day 31 was my birthday. And so I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, I did 30 days detox. Let me get my chantilly cake, little slice, okay? And I cut myself slice like this. I'm mixed. I'm not totally Carrie, but I'm not like, you know, I'm on 7 on Susan Pierce Thompson addictiveness scale. So I got myself like a little piece like this. And I put it in, and I'm like in this anticipation, and oh my God, my favorite cake. It was so nauseatingly sweet. I couldn't even chew it. It was disgusting, okay? My receptors upregulated to the point that tomato, the cucumber, the carrots were sweet. I was tasting sweet in non-sweet stuff. And this is how clean receptors supposed to be, okay? So now let's talk about a little bit artificial sweeteners. Well, they're not specifically artificial, they're possible alternatives. So if you are closer to Bridget, okay, it can be almost like a that's bad for you to just like stop doing all of the sugars, okay? So we can use a little bit of help to navigate this period of detox. So stevia is the number one, okay? Be wary, because stevia is supposed to be produced from natural plant, and a lot of stevia right now is chemically synthesized, and they differ a little bit, but it has no calories, but it does spike your cortisol level if nothing is coming. So no coffee with stevia. If you want to have something with stevia, you actually have to have a meal, because when you taste the sweetness of stevia, and if it's a pure stevia and nothing else, has no calories, then your body will produce extra cortisol. So if you want to have your coffee after your breakfast or after your lunch with stevia, that is okay. If you want to have coffee with stevia instead of your breakfast, oh, that's going to create a problem. Okay, so it's okay to use stevia. Just do not use the stevia alone with no other calories. You're supposed to have the rest of your balanced meal, and then you can have your stevia as the part of your balanced meal. Okay, so next one, excuse me. So next one is xylitol, or sometimes it's called xylate. It's actually alcohol sugar. It does have a calories, but to get the same sweetness, you need only 40% of the calories of the real sugar, so less calories, okay? Next one is erythritol, or monk fruit, okay? It's 70% as sweet as the sugar, so like you need a little bit more. Like if you're used to 1 teaspoon of sugar in your coffee, okay, this is a good thing, because this is going to be 70% less, and this is going to start down regulating your receptors. And it's going to start down regulating your receptors. Okay, so monk fruit is monk fruit is the fruit, and then erythritol is chemically produced thing from the monk fruit. So monk fruit itself is actually 300 times, that is not a mistypo. It's sweeter than the sugar. But erythritol is a chemically produced compound from monk fruit, is only 70% sweet as a sugar. And then yacon syrup. So yacon syrup is it has calories, but it's only like 1/3 of the calories of the sugar. But what does yacon syrup has is actually multiple oligosaccharides that has beneficial property to your body. It's actually, in some studies, it shows to desensitize people to insulin resistance. So it's actually improve insulin resistance. Again, very small studies, not a lot of information. So I would use it as a temporary measure if you bridge it, to bridge you through your cravings and withdrawal, to make it a little bit lighter on your body, okay? And then the next one is natural sweeteners. Remember, sugar is the sugar. It doesn't matter where the sugar is coming from, okay? Coconut sugar is the sugar. Honey is the sugar. Maple syrup is the sugar. Molasses is the sugar. What is the difference between white sugar and those sugars? White sugar is empty calories, has nothing useful to the body. Those things actually have other components that are useful to the body. Okay, so coconut sugar will actually have some beneficial properties to the body. Honey, we all know about vitamins and everything, but it is sugar. So it still should not exceed this 5%. If you bridge it, there should be no coconut sugar, no honey, no maple syrup, no molasses, nothing. I understand they're natural sweetness. I understand they have benefits to the body. If you bridge it, you cannot have them. And absolutely avoid agave nectar and corn syrup. So agave nectar is as bad as the corn syrup. Okay, this is a myth.
What is that?
I'm sorry, can you guys please mute yourself? Okay. Agave nectar has a bunch of fructose. It's actually more fructose, but you remember your body brings the fructose into the liver and produce glucose from fructose, okay? What is the difference in fructose from fruits and fructose in agave nectar and corn syrup, okay? In fruits, it's combined with all of the beneficial stuff, and especially with the fiber, which is gonna slow the absorption. What does fructose do to liver? So we have this disease called hepatic steatosis, or it's called fatty liver infiltration. 50 years ago, we all thought that like hepatic steatosis or like fatty liver infiltration is only in alcoholics, until we finally have CT scan and MRIs and ultrasound, and we see it in children. So it's definitely not coming from alcohol. So recent research showed that fatty liver infiltration is actually from fructose. High fructose content makes sugar work over time, converting this fructose into glucose. And then sugar is so overworked, then it's now packed with fat. And it's basically, this is the first stage before you develop cirrhosis. So like alcoholic people die from cirrhosis. You can actually have cirrhosis from corn syrup and agave nectar. It's impossible. Nothing in medicine is impossible. I'm going to take it back. It's very, very difficult to get fatty liver infiltration from fruits unless you become fruitarian and eat nothing except the fruit. Then I don't see it's ever happening. But it's very, very easy to get it from agave nectar and from corn syrup. Okay, so those two must go. Very bad for you. Okay, so this is end of my presentation for today. Okay, and I'm gonna open chat and see if I have any question. Okay, so I have a question: how much sugar is good for the daily amount? So if we're talking in grams, World Health Organization recommends between 5 and 9 grams of added sugar, which is 5 grams is 1 teaspoon. 9 grams of sugar is almost 2 teaspoons. Okay, so everything else is not. If you're counting by daily calories and you're counting total added sugar, it should not exceed 5% is the max amount. Again, when we're talking about 5%, for me, it's going to be 80 calories. Okay, somebody smaller than me, like a child, it's going to be 50 calories. Somebody bigger than me, maybe it's going to be 150 calories, but it's 100 calories. And so if you calculate from this, then it's adding 25 grams of sugar. Okay, so 25 grams is absolute max by any calculation. Recommended is between 5 and 9. And again, Coke is 39 grams of sugar. Okay, anybody else? I don't have any more questions in chat. So if you guys wanna unmute yourself. Okay, wait, I have. What is the name of the app? And how do you break sugar addiction? So what is the name of the app? The name of the app was SIFT. I'm gonna show it to you again. Let me see if you can see my screen. Okay, so it looks like this, SIFT. Okay, and how do you break sugar addiction? When we talk about Carrie and we talk about Bridget, this is 2 types and you go different. If you Carrie, you can just actually slowly remove the sugar. You know, if you Bridget, it's a cold cut. You decide and you go, okay? And to any other questions, guys? Okay, so if there is no other questions, I'm actually gonna give a word to my partner. We're launching a program, How to Break Sugar Addiction, and my partner is gonna tell you about, it's gonna be like she is herself is gonna do this program, so she's gonna do 40 days total body detox, and it's gonna be juicing and green diet. So I'm gonna give her a word, and if you have any more questions, just type it in and we're gonna go over before we break up. Okay, Natalia?
Yes, thank you, Oksana, for this phenomenal information. So I'm, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Natalia Rastovshikova, and I'm a Kundalini yoga practitioner. So inspired by this wonderful information about the old information about the sugar, we would like to offer you a green diet detox program to break down sugar addiction. And it is based on one of the Kundalini Yoga Mona diets, and it is prescribed for 40 days. But if 40 days is too much for you, you can do it for 3 days, you can do it for 7 days or for 11 days. Just try it, at least try it and see what it does for you. The best way to start any detox diet is usually on a full moon. And we will have our next full moon next week. It is on Wednesday, and it is a powerful full moon in Aries. So we will have more information actually on our website. So you can go to our website at www.bestyourself.net. And we will also offer you the opportunity to pre-order some of the green juices and other green items from this diet. I will send the video and I will send more information to our website about more information about this diet, how it is done, what it is done for. But in a nutshell, it's besides the getting rid of the sugar addiction, it can also help you clean your skin, meaning like especially if you have any acne issues, it can also help. It can help you to get rid of caffeine addiction, and it just it's going to make you feel wonderful and amazing. Like Oksana mentioned, the sugar addiction sometimes leads to depression, and when we're depressed, we're just not our normal self. We are not the best version of ourselves. So yes, please let us know if you're interested in that. Let us know if you're interested in pre-ordering any of our green juices and other green food items for the detox program. Like I said, it's going to be on our website. And any suggestions, please let us know.
And I guys want to mention the program is actually completely free. We're not charging anything for it. It's going to be done. We're going to create a group via Telegram chat program, and we're going to provide all of the recipes and everything. But if you are busy and you don't have time to cook or do the juices, we sell juices, but we're going to provide all the recipe for the juices, and you don't have to pay anything. We're going to provide all the information, all the support, absolutely for free. It's just for busy people. We can make you juices. Juices are not free, but the program itself is free. Okay, I have another question. If carb and proteins can be converted to sugar, then how do you account for that? Okay, so when you are consume more calories than you can spend, then your body will try to store it. And if you eat more protein that you need, and like normally, if you are, in your normal body composition, you're not trying to lose the weight, you will need between 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per kilogram of weight. So let's say I weigh 60 kilos. So for my 60 kilos, I should be eating 60 grams of protein. If I am trying to lose the weight, I can increase it. The max is up to 2, but about 1.5 grams of protein per day. So I'm supposed to be eating 60 grams of protein to maintain my weight, to maintain my muscle mass. Okay? If I am gonna eat 120 grams of protein, it's going to be converted to sugar, but it's going to be converted to sugar very, very slowly. So it's not going to cause this crazy spike that we talked about. And then if I'm not going to utilize this sugar, then it's actually going to be converted to fat and stored into fat. So it's not like if you eat extra protein, okay, like this is not going to go to fat. It will go to sugar first, and then it's going to go to fat. So you account total amount of calories. But if you were here for my previous lecture, my graduation project, my diploma, was about nutrition, and I spent almost 3 years counting calories in and out. And when I'm running my weight loss program, I was counting calories in and out, and I don't do it anymore. I find it absolutely useless. I do it only for 1 week to get a base on what the person needs, what the person actually is eating. And then I go by rule of plate and rule of rainbow. And rule of plate is a balanced plate, which means you have your plate, your round plate, you divide it in half. Half of the plate is your fruits and veggies, more veggies, less fruit. So 2/3 is going to be veggies, 1/3 is going to be fruit. Quarter of your plate, so the other half is divided by 2. Quarter of your plate is going to be protein, quarter of the plate is going to be grains. And preference to the whole grains. Why? We just discussed spike in the insulin. So the whole grains do not do the spike in glucose and spike in insulin. It doesn't do this like crazy swings. And if you do this, and then like if person wants to lose weight, you manipulate with the size of the plate. Patient want to gain weight, like you give a bigger plate. And this is way easier. This is practical. Okay, you can do this. I did this when I was in Mexican resort and I had a buffet. Like I'm not going to be on my vacation with scale, weighing everything and trying to calculate the calories. So when I was on my Mexican vacation and we had a buffet for breakfast, lunch, I would go to buffet and I'd go 1 plate and I'm like, okay, half of the plate, my veggies. Okay, let me get my avocado. Let me get my tomatoes. Okay, fruits. Let me get my beautiful papaya. Okay, eggs, my protein. Okay, toast, my carbs, my grains. That's it. When I'm in restaurant, I'm ordering and I'm looking through the menu. Okay, so I need my greens, my veggies. Okay, what I'm gonna have for veggies? Okay, I'm gonna have my broccoli. I'm gonna have my salad. What am I gonna have for my protein? Okay, I'm gonna have mushrooms. What am I gonna have for my grains? Okay, what do they have? Oh, they have amazing bread. That's gonna be enough. I'm not gonna order any more starch. I'm not gonna order potatoes. And it's very easy, and it eliminates this need for counting calories. Again, when I run my weight loss clinic and I consult patients, for the first week, I do calculate calories just to kind of get a base of this, and to let people understand, listen, you're consuming 3,000 calories. We need a smaller plate, but that's it. Then it's too cumbersome, it's too time consuming, it does not bring results, because when you're out of your kitchen, there is no scale. There is no way to measure those calories. I hope that answered the question. Any additional questions? Natalia, do you want to add anything? Natalia, you have to unmute yourself. You muted.
Yes, so we will have more information on our website, and please let us know if you're interested. So for all the juices and the green items, we need like at least 3 orders in advance for orders, and the orders can be picked up locally, or we can deliver them within the New Orleans metropolitan area.
Okay, well, guys, thank you so much. And thank you for spending 90 minutes with me on a Sunday weekend. I really appreciate it. You guys, awesome. Nice questions, nice auditory retention. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions, if you want any of this PDF files, please email me and I'm going to send you all of the information. We will post this presentation on YouTube in a couple days. Have a good night.